you wanted the best, you've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go. When the Iron Lady sings it, that's when you know it's official. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate you being here. Remember, the Chris Voss Show is a family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law, because she didn't like you anyway. And you know what I'm saying. So anyway,
I know exactly what you're saying, as a matter of fact.
Wait, is your mother-in-law the one that keeps calling in the show? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's her, over and over and over again. How are you, Chris?
I am excellent. Welcome to the show. Bill Karns is going to be joining us on the show. You can hear him chiming in the background. And we'll be talking to him about his company, Karns & Karns, personal injury and accident attorneys. Some of the stuff that he does and some of the stuff you can look out for and be knowledgeable on your ways through life as you wander through it. In the meantime, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss went on the TikTok, and he subscribed to the big LinkedIn newsletter, the 130,000 LinkedIn group over there. And I think that's it, ChrisVossFacebook.com. He is a gentleman who is an attorney.
Thank you, by the way, for gentlemen. I appreciate that. You know?
I know. We do that for everybody on the show. We tell everyone that we.
Oh, and I don't feel special anymore. Everyone gets the gentleman tag, huh?
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. Well, you've learned our secret. You've uncovered it. I cracked under questioning.
Yeah, there's an in-depth, intense cross-examination from this counsel, right?
I gave up pretty easy. I don't want to go to jail. So Bill Karns, as you can hear, specializes in litigating major personal injury cases involving car accidents, motorcycle accidents, train accidents, wrongful death, premises accidents, slip and fall accidents, unsafe products, unsafe medical devices, bad drugs. Wow, I could have called him for some of that when I was younger. Construction site accidents, pedestrian accidents, boat accidents, insurance bad faith, traumatic brain injury. He's also litigated cases involving breach of contract, fraud, and business torts. I wonder if he also litigates birth accidents. Welcome to the show, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. And the answer to that last question is yes. I have done plenty of birth injury cases.
Oh, birth injury cases. Yeah. I'm talking about the ones where you end up on Maury. Like,
yeah.
Wait, I am the father? What's going on there? I thought that vasectomy is working.
Every once in a while, I go and I do a deep dive on like Maury reactions just to laugh. Best Maury, you are the father reactions. It's classic.
I do that with cops. If I ever get depressed and I'm like, God, my life sucks, I'll sit and watch cops for 2 hours. And by the time after 2 hours, you're like, my life is awesome compared to these people.
Yeah, that is hands down one of the greatest reality TV shows to this day is Cops. I mean, I haven't watched Cops in a long time, but gosh, it is. When I was a kid, it was the first reality show. It was the best.
Oh, yeah. I wish there was just a segment where it was just tasers 24/7. That's my favorite part, the tasers.
See, I'm too young. I mean, I haven't watched Cops in 20 years or something. Yeah. So I missed all the taser. There were no tasers back then. There's Cops. Yeah. And, by the way, we also sue cops. So now back then they just shoot you. They still do that now, but every once in a while you get the tase.
Yeah, especially when the guy doesn't have a shirt on. It's always the guy who doesn't have a shirt on in the mobile home when they show up. That's why if the cops ever show up at my house, I make sure and put a shirt on and make sure I'm not wearing a wife beater too. So because that's the guy who always goes. So give us your .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Karnsandkarns.com.
There you go. Give us a 30,000 overview of what you guys do in your words and how you do it. And I know you have a lot of locations as well.
Yeah, we're in California, Nevada, and Texas, offices throughout. And basically, primarily what we do are auto accidents, slip and falls, but major catastrophic personal injury cases. And 30,000 foot overview is, we sue people. We sue insurance companies. That's the 30,000 foot.
We're attorneys who sue people.
We're attorneys, God forbid, who sue people. Yeah. I tell you, we like to categorize ourselves a little differently than the personal injury firms that you see on the billboards or radio or TV, because we kind of, although we do a lot of marketing, we started off totally different than those kind of, heavy marketing firms. It's definitely a little different.
Yeah. So what got you into law? What made you want to become attorney? What was your journey growing up, and,
All right, so
and who hurt you?
yeah, right. My dad was a heavy influence on both my brother and I. My brother's my partner at Karns and Karns. We both started the firm together. And our dad, we asked him the same question growing up because neither of us knew what we wanted to do growing up, high school or anything like that. We said, Dad, what do we, how did you become a lawyer? He goes, well, because medical school was too long. And I was too dumb for medical school. But I wanted to be in school. And that's what he said. So that was kind of influential. And so growing up in school, we always kind of tried to keep our options open. And then we both went to law school. We both started liking it, and the rest is history.
There you go. Law is an amazing field. If I could go back, I started my first company at 18. If I could go back, I'd tell people I'd get a law degree because it's so pliable in so many different fields that you can use it in.
Yeah. What people are doing a lot is that JD MBA. That's not a bad move. A
JD MBA?
Yeah, they do a joint, master's in business, business school basically. In law
really?
School. And you do it at the same time. It's 4 years instead of 3. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people do that. I hear that from a lot of lawyers that they wish they did a JD MBA.
Yeah, because they don't teach business to lawyers, right?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. They don't teach you how to do law. They don't teach you what to do inside a courtroom.
They just teach you Latin.
Yeah, right. And then then if you mispronounce the Latin, they say, "Oh, you mispronounced that." It's like, how do you know? It's a dead language. You got no idea. And then you're labeled a smart ass, and you just got to get out of there, take the bar exam, establish yourself in the practice at that point.
There you go. I think Kim Kardashian is still trying to pass it. I don't know. She did.
Yeah, the baby bar
like 20 times or something. But I had to fall in love with the law because once you have a lot of companies and stuff, you get a lot of shakedown lawsuits, and then you're suing people and they're suing you. And I've learned that it's how the rich do war. Like in the old days, kings would just do war and battles, and you'd send people over to kill each other and murder each other. And now in a modern society, the war is done through courts and attorneys, and
it's the modern day sword for the rich.
There you go.
Those types of cases, things like that, certainly dominate the headlines, but they don't dominate the courthouses. I can tell you that. And they don't. I mean, we represent regular people, people that need us too. They really need lawyers. What you're talking about, people need to screw over other people.
Yeah.
Or want to do that. Yeah, I don't do that.
And the beauty of the law too is, you look at our Constitution, you look at our nation of laws, and it's really interesting to me how all of it evolved from it. So, there's what's the old saying? No one thinks they need an attorney. No one likes attorneys or thinks they need an attorney until they need one.
Yeah. It's a good one.
There you go.
And the last kind of lawyer you ever are going to want is a lawyer like me. You never want a personal injury lawyer. If you go your whole life without ever knowing a personal injury lawyer, that's a good life.
That means that something hasn't befallen you that has equated you to an injury. That's so right. How do you tell us what sort of clients you help and some of the things that you do and why is it necessary to have a personal injury lawyer? What do we need to look out for? What sort of things are we getting into that we need one for?
Interesting. There's a couple of ways to attack that question. The reality of just life, people get hurt and other people are responsible for it. And there's medical bills, there's issues, there's pain, there's broken bones, and there needs to be compensation as opposed to an eye for an eye. You talk about the Constitution, English common law, et cetera, and how that, all evolved from that. But how we came about and how, people wonder why there's a bunch of, there's PI lawyers everywhere, there's TV commercials everywhere. And the reason is because insurance companies are so cheap.
Yeah.
So if insurance companies treated people fairly, then there would probably be a lot less personal injury lawyers. So, cause and effect. We are a little bit of the product of what's going on in the insurance industry. They're, exceedingly cheap, always have been. I think they've gotten a lot worse during tort reform in the 90s, early 2000s. And, the billboards you see driving down the road, you're in Vegas, forget about it. Every time I go to Vegas, I just went to a game at Allegiant. You can't go 5 feet without seeing a PI injury billboard,
Yeah.
So I think
just knock on the cars in traffic. Knock on
yeah, right. Yeah, a decent gust of wind blows that billboard right over on there. Yeah, so I mean, I think a little bit of that's what you're seeing in terms of what we do. We're not a huge marketing type firm. We don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of cases. We try to help people and try to kind of give a personal, attention to them. We're a family law firm, and we try to treat our clients like family as well.
Do you treat your brother as well as the rest of your clients? You're joking about your brother.
I love my brother so much. People ask me, what's it like practicing with your brother? I'm just like, no, it's great. Mike and I definitely see eye to eye on virtually every single issue. And
that's awesome.
And whenever we do disagree, it never gets heated or anything like that. We just start laughing about something.
See, me and my brother, we fought a lot as kids, so I don't think we can ever work together. So I'm glad you have a better relationship than we do. How
many siblings do you have?
I had 3, but just one brother and 2 sisters.
Gotcha.
And so the brothers, I don't think it's ever left the 2 of us of being, at each other. But that's another story.
We still do that too. I mean, and that's healthy. Because it drives both of us. It's competitive and it's. There you go. I mean,
there you go. But you do.
It can't be all, Arnold and Danny DeVito and twins, just hugs and kisses. It can't be. I mean, come on.
Problem is, if you get in a fist fight, who sues who for damages?
Well, he kicks my ass because he's tough.
Oh, there you go.
He's strong and tough. I'm kind of a wuss in that regard.
There you go.
Yeah, well, hence the practice of law.
Yeah, just hire attorneys and have them work it out. Don't be fist fighting. So you guys have an award-winning service, no fees until you win.
Yeah.
Experience you can trust, and over 1,000 5-star reviews. That's pretty awesome. I noticed you guys also cover bad drug lawyers, so I can call you if I get a bad bag of meth. And it's
not those types of drugs. If you're getting the bad, dime bag or bag of, blue ice, that's probably going to be on you. If Pfizer gives you a bad drug, you might want to give us a call.
It's that kind of bad drug.
That kind of bad drug.
Yeah. Tell the voicemail I left at Karns, and Karns said, forget about it.
Disregard.
Speaking of cops, as we were joking about earlier in the show, I don't know if you've ever seen there were different episodes on cops where people actually did that. They flagged down a cop car and they're like, hey, I bought some crack at that crack house in the corner, and they gave me like baking soda, and I want you to go get my money back.
I got ripped off by that drug dealer.
Yeah, they're like, are you for real?
My brother and I were once talking about what's the dumbest thing you can do, and or say to a cop. And that's got to be right up there. Say, hey, I got ripped off by this drug dealer.
Yeah, or I can't get this knife out of this guy I murdered. Can you guys help me? I got a good place to bury a body at all? I got a couple extra bags here. I don't know. I know you guys see a lot of murders, so you guys should know.
I need some good advice. How to bury the body.
So what do you think sets you guys apart as personal injury and accident attorneys than other firms?
One, we actually litigate cases.
Oh.
So there's a couple things I talk to our clients about when they're trying to select a law firm. And I'm saying, hey, you've heard of those big time lawyers. Ask them if they've ever tried a case. Every lawyer in our office, every single lawyer in our office has tried multiple cases to jury verdict. And not many law firms can say that because the guys that you see on the billboard, all those guys on the TV, et cetera, they're marketers. They're business guys. They're not actual lawyers. So when I started off, I carried another guy's briefcase, another lawyer's briefcase who was a really good trial lawyer, and I tried his worst cases. And then became a partner at that firm, and then started this firm with my brother. And so when we try cases, so we know what the defense argues at trial. We know how to counter those arguments. We just kind of know more about what happens when you finally get to that ultimate stage of a jury trial. And remember, when you get to it, people are like, oh, you're a lawyer. They think all you do is what they see on TV, which is try cases. That in the life of a case, that's the last 5% time-wise of case or less. Yeah. Far less, potentially. So, but when you are experiencing that, the area of trial and you see what the defense does and what insurance companies do, it helps you kind of prepare for that. So what sets us apart from those other law firms is we're actually we're in the trenches. We're fighting the fight. We don't take cases and send them to other plaintiffs' law firms. We don't do any of that. We take our cases ourselves. We hold them ourselves. and we take it all the way to trial if need be.
There you go. I know.
Those other firms that you see on the side of it, I don't know. You ask, hey man, that name on the billboard, if they are still, part of your firm, can I talk to them? Do they try cases?
Yeah. I remember there was an attorney firm. I won't say what city it was in, but let's say it's close to where I live. And they were one of these attorney firms who, I guess what they do is they do massive marketing, and they just recruit a bunch of attorneys and spin out cases to them like a referral service.
Oh yeah.
But they're an attorney firm themselves. But the head lead guy that people saw on TV like all the time, to a point you almost knew him in every follicle on his head. And he would do those funny, weird commercials. But I guess one time he was just partying too hard and enjoying his life. He didn't show up for a murder case, which was kind of a big deal because the guy was up for murder. And that wasn't a good time for him. So it's probably good to have, people that aren't just marketing guys.
I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah. But so that's why you want good trial.
Yeah, well, and then like the other thing too, it's like, we care because we're not a huge behemoth law firm.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the time, we have the resources to care. I mean, the business model that we have, and every law firm has a business model, whether they like it or not, whether they anticipated it to be that various model or not, or that particular model or not. But business model that we have allows us to give our clients personal attention.
There you go.
So, I mean, it's no one's, we are overstaffed. No one's overworked over here. We try to maximize value on every case.
There you go.
We're not, hoarders of a whole bunch of cases. I mean, there's some law firms out there, they treat their clients, it's like widgets. Oh, we have 10,000 cases. Like, you got 9,999 pissed off clients, my man.
You're actually going to show up for my.
Yeah, you're going to be there for murder one or not, right?
That's kind of, the judge is like, this is a guy who has his life on his line. It could be on death row. And where were you? You were off on a sabbatical smoking, I don't know, ketamine. I don't know what he was doing. It sounded like he was in one of those sweat huts or something.
Stick to the commercial.
Yeah, stick to being the TV. But so any advice for people out there that should be calling you when they get in an accident, some sort of injury? There's all sorts of, sometimes the insurance company will run out and try and get you to sign something really quick, or get a statement from you, et cetera, et cetera.
The classic things that we say are, if you get into a crash, check in with your body, make sure you're okay, make sure your car's in a reasonably safe spot, exchange information, and then go to the ER or an urgent care to get checked out, even if you're not feeling all that banged up. And then call a lawyer. Don't be chatting with your insurance company. Don't be chatting with the other guy's insurance company. Don't be in a situation where you're going crazy, yelling and screaming at the guy. Can you believe what you know what I mean? Don't turn it into a road rage incident. Yeah. And then, really try to calm down, check in with yourself, especially once that adrenaline dies down, you start feeling the effects of an actual accident. Yeah. I mean, much of the conversations I have with clients that have just been in an accident is talking about injury potential, brain injury, what happens in the spine, et cetera. And I can have long, distinct conversations with people. And, during the course of that conversation, you get the clients say, oh yeah, I do feel that actually. I thought that was, something else or whatever. It's like, no, that tingling in your foot could be from your low back. Could be a disc, a lot of things like that happen. So, I tell people, get to the ER, tell them every kind of symptom that you have, and then call a lawyer.
There you go. And that's really important. I mean, I've been rear-ended before. A lot of times you don't feel, the real impact of it till 2 days later. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, wow, holy crap. It takes kind of a while to kick in. And I think sometimes you're in a little bit of shock. And
yeah, it's that adrenaline. That adrenaline goes and, you get your fight or flight type stuff and you get all pumped up. And once that subsides, and also inflammation builds up from injury, it doesn't happen like that. Yeah. I mean, if you bang your knee, that swelling doesn't happen immediately. It can happen over time a little bit. And that's the same thing that happens internally in the structures in your spine, brain injury, et cetera. So, yeah, you got to really, check in with yourself. Don't just brush it off thinking that you're fine. There can be a lot of kind of hidden things.
And I got rear-ended by, we were kind of in traffic, so we weren't moving that fast. But the gal had turned her baby was in the back seat. She turned around to play with her baby, and we were doing that start and stop traffic stuff, and she hit me pretty hard. And I remember I was kind of surprised because the insurance company was like out like right away. Hey, we'll come out. Yeah,
Right.
we'll help. We'll get you taken care of. And then when she showed up,
Was it your insurance company or
no,
hers?
her insurance company, yeah.
Sign
And
here. Here's $200. Sign the bodily injury.
They wanted me to,
Yeah.
and they wanted to take a statement from me. They
Right.
wanted to do a recording and sit down with me and take like a full accountability. And I remember saying to her, I'm like, would my attorney recommend that we have this conversation right now?
No.
And she's like, I gotta be honest with you, probably not.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, then you can go.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always trying to minimize cases. I mean, even your own insurance company, you're like, well, I gave a statement to my own insurance company, and they'll like, once you have a statement, an insurance company will share with the other insurance company, or you might have an uninsured motorist coverage where your insurance will pay you if the other guy doesn't have insurance or not enough insurance, and they'll use what you say to your own insurance company against you.
Wow.
Evaluating that claim.
Yeah. And they can get it through discovery too.
Yeah, they do clever things too. So did you get that hurt? Just kind of minor, kind of bumps and bruises. They'll lead you to what they want to hear. What the insurance company wants to, will basically devalue your claim. So they have all those little tricks, and it's just, they are not your good neighbor. They're not your friend. You're not in good hands. But you know what the interesting thing though? Don't people know this kind of? I feel like people.
You would think. But I think a lot of times you're kind of in shock. I mean, I've had little car accidents. I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Am I supposed to call the cops, or what's the procedure? And it's a minor. How much is it when we really got to call the cops? And you just kind of go scramble head because you're right. You just don't. We had that happen a lot with our commercial vehicles and stuff.
Another thing that I see a lot is like the crash that you were in. You mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Sure.
So it was like,
now, would my attorney recommend that I answer these?
Yeah, right. You're not on the record. You're okay. Was there a lot of damage to the back of your car? I know it was stop and go traffic.
No, it pushed the bumper and wrecked the bumper. It was a BMW, so it was a nice car.
How did it feel? How did it feel though for you? Were you surprised to see the amount of damage or lack thereof? I mean,
gosh, she hit me pretty hard. It slammed my head back, and I got a little bit of whiplash. Yeah, because I was sitting forward, and I really didn't expect it. Normally, I'm kind of keeping track of what's going on, but when you're in start and stop traffic, you're not expected to get hit at a light. Yeah, you're
not prepared for it.
So my head did pop back, and my neck right away. I knew to put ice on my neck, and I started icing it. And by the second day, I was like, "It's a good thing I iced the fuck out of that."
Yeah. By the second day, you can change that testimony in the future if you need to. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I get it. We get clients all the time. They get banged, pretty hard, and then they look at their bumper and there's not that much damage. And there's bumper rebound, and people think, well, bumpers are soft. It's a soft component of the vehicle. It's not. It's the exact opposite. You know what I mean? It's so, we see a lot of situations where clients are shocked about the small amount of property damage to their vehicle. And then when you actually, the State Farm or whoever will come out and, take a look at the car, some scratches on the bumper. And then if you do a breakdown investigation of that car, the bumper gets pushed in and rebounds back. But then you take it off and you look, and there's damage to the internal structures and even frame damage that is just totally ignored by the adjuster.
And car parts are like so crazy expensive nowadays. So I remember one time my BMW, we had a whiteout. I was in Park City with it, and we had a whiteout, and they hadn't done the road, and we totally got lost as we were driving and basically drove off the road. Thankfully, I just slid through a pile of snow to a stop, but it did enough damage to the bumper. The bumper looked fine. Yeah. But and so when they towed it out, I was like, okay, well, shit. I guess, the snow did everything. But then when we took it in the shop, there was all this honeycomb that's under there and all this structure, and it was all wrecked. And so it looked fine from the outside. It had a couple scratches, but so you just never know with cars and parts and stuff. And then your body. I've had friends that have had accidents where they've had damage to their spine, and they'll settle. And then years later, they'll start having, the degenerative nature of, once you destroy one vertebrae and it starts riding and sitting wrong, then you're fusing everything, and then that makes it worse. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have settled that lawsuit, dude. That was crazy, man.
Yeah, adjacent level syndrome or junction syndrome is what you're talking about. It's look, the spine. I mean, the human body is very, very, very fragile, and like you say, if you injure one part and there's an acute injury, I mean, the surrounding structures can basically erode, degenerate faster. It's I don't know, it gets nasty. It's sad. Yeah, and it's getting worse. There's more car accidents now. People are really dinking around on their stupid phones. You see it all the time.
Yeah.
And then pedestrians are getting hit more. There's more death cases. Yeah. There was a little bit of a lull with COVID, but it's still trending in the wrong direction.
I have a close friend who's an attorney, and he does a lot of wrongful death suits from people who are on their phone and drove through somebody, and people just they're I don't know, they're just on their own private Idaho. We work with AT&T a lot and review a lot of their phones over the last years, and
I've seen that on your videos. Yeah.
And there was a movie they did with one of the famous Hollywood producers like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, and they had done a documentary where they went out and interviewed people who ended up killing people, and accidentally, because they were on their phone. Yeah. And they did this big PR put the phone away campaign, and they probably need more of that, because literally I'm at the point now, from what I've seen and heard enough of, that like before I cross into an intersection, I'm looking both ways to make sure the cars are stopping and someone isn't just on their phone. I wouldn't call myself paranoid about it. I'm just kind of aware. Like I just look and I go, is everyone coming to a stop? And we're going to blow through this light right into me? Dude,
I'm paranoid. I'm paranoid at this stage. I mean, when you stop at a stoplight and you just look to your left or right, I mean, like everyone. I mean, like, what? Everyone's on their phone. Yeah. It's just, I started deleting. I got into the habit a little bit of probably checking my phone too much, and I deleted. This was years ago, before it became cool. Deleted Facebook, and I don't have Instagram or anything like that, or TikTok. But I probably shouldn't be saying this on a podcast, but whatever. I mean,
no, it's fine. You're living the life, man. You're free.
Yeah, it's nice. And I have a 5-year-old girl, 5.5, and I've always said to my wife, look, dude, this broad, she's gonna have a flip phone. She doesn't even know. She's gonna hate. She is gonna hate me. She's gonna be like, a pager? What? So this was just last night. She goes, Daddy, I want a phone at 5.5. I said, oh man, this is it. This is how it starts. She goes, what are you talking about, Daddy? And he goes, this is how it starts. You and I, we're gonna be at each other's throats. And, until it's, until the end on this. You're going to be the last person with the phone. And she goes, oh, I love you, Daddy. And she gave me a hug and kiss, and that was it. So she knows. Yeah. She already knows what she's doing, buttering.
All changes when they become teenagers.
Just I know, that, buttering me up.
She's working. She's gonna go talk to Mom about a phone now. But social media has really been destructive to young people. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of states suing Facebook and other places, and it really has become just the Pandora's box that we've opened. It's the most culturally destroying, mentally destroying, people with depression. Yeah. It really affects young girls a lot too. And just the delusion that's out there. I mean, down to your place in LA, you can pay $60 to go have pictures taken in a studio that look like you're in a private plane and you're living the life. And so all these young kids are growing up like, why can't it be like him? How come? Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. It's a joke. Yeah. It's really bad. It's really sad too. I kind of weep for the future, but you know what? Every single generation has said that about since the dawn, when we were apes, barely off the tree, they were saying that. So I think it's hard. I just think you just gotta, I don't know. I just try to hug my kids as much as I possibly can and say, don't worry about it. And, do you
use that line "weep for the future" from the Ferris Bueller movie? Was that a reference to that?
Yeah, that's the principal, right? I was that principal for Halloween one year.
Were you?
Yeah, and I was with the cool guys of the group were, of course, Ferris Bueller and Cameron Fry.
Yeah, but that's one of my favorite lines to do when the Gen Zers are acting up. I'm like, I weep for the future.
I weep for the future. Yeah, we haven't even talked about legal movies at all. What's your favorite law movie? Yeah.
I would say it comes to mind. I would say, who's is it? My cousin Vinny? No, is it my cousin Vinny?
If you talk to any lawyer, yeah, it is
Yeah.
that actually, tries cases.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin Vinny is hands down
Serious.
the greatest, most accurate legal movie of all time.
Is it? It's accurate. Wow. There you go.
It's very, I mean, for when you're comparing it against other movies where there's courtrooms, and it's as good as it gets.
What about Perry Mason?
Better.
My mom loves Perry Mason to this day. She watches it like 5 hours a day.
Did they remake Perry Mason?
I don't know what she's watching, but I'll go in and she's watching Perry Mason when I visit her.
And is it the old school Perry Mason?
I think she's got both, because I've seen it in black and white and in color.
That's so spectacular.
But she loves Perry Mason.
Hey, what about Ben Matlock? Don't forget about Matlock.
I don't know if she's into Matlock. I'll have to ask her next time I see her. But I remember I watched Matlock when I was a kid. I was a big Andy Griffin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching, what was the Andy Griffin show? Yeah, there you go.
Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, but that's interesting. And then, of course, there's the famous lines from the movie with Tom Cruise, and you can't handle the truth. That's probably a big lawyer movie. I don't know.
Yeah, A Few Good Men. Wait,
A Few Good Men.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thing.
Yeah, on the My Cousin Vinny, we at my office pay a little homage to it. And this will mean nothing unless you really know the movie, but our Wi-Fi is Jerry Gallo, and our Wi-Fi password is Jerry Callow. And if you're wondering what the hell that means, go watch that movie, and it's at the end.
There you go. When she gets on the stand and she starts popping off in her Jersey accent, like all the car parts, it's like the best.
It's so good. Marissa Tomei. She won an Oscar for that.
Yeah. She was just so great. She just starts popping off. And then it was great to see. Wasn't he one of the Munsters, the judge? Yeah.
He was the Lurch, but the Munsters, they were named. I forget what his name was. He just died. He just passed away too. He was a great judge in that too.
Yeah, he was a great. I wish I would. I remember watching the movie, thinking, God, he should be in more movies.
Yeah.
But I grew up watching the Munsters and all that sort of stuff in early 70s stuff. So anything we haven't touched on, I should ask you about, or we should talk about.
Man, whatever. Tons of stuff, but no, it's all good. Sure. We've had a good chat.
There you go. So give us your final pitch out to people on how they can onboard with you guys, reach out to you guys, do a free consult.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that you call us, you don't have to pay a dime. You won't get a bill from us or charge from us ever. We work on contingency. So you got any kind of legal issue, you've been in a car accident, anything like that, give Karns and Karns a call.
There you go.
I like to say sometimes on our videos, hey, call K&K.
Call K&K. I notice you guys are a proud sponsor of the Wounded Warrior Project too.
Yeah.
There you go. Awesome.
We do Wounded Warrior. That project is kind of interesting because we partner up with 4 Paws for Patriots and Wounded Warriors. So when a service dog is needed by a vet, Wounded Warriors doesn't necessarily just give them a service dog. That has to come. They're specially trained. That comes from other organizations like 4 Paws for Patriots. So we try to connect the two together to provide service dogs. So we support 4 Paws for Patriots, Wounded Warriors, so they can get good service dogs to vets who need them.
There you go. We've had veteran congressmen on the show. We've talked about the high suicide rate of vets and joblessness of vets, and dogs are such a great way to resolve a lot of that. I mean, I was depressed all my life before I got dogs. Yeah, they kind of saved me, and they're just so great. So
truly man's best friend.
They are, because they don't divorce you in divorce court.
They don't.
They take half your shit. My dogs might eat half my shit. I think my younger Siberians did that, but that's another thing.
Well, that's being a good dog. I mean,
that's pretty much.
That's what you're supposed to do.
It's par for the course, right?
Yeah.
So, Bill, thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Give us the .com one more time as we go out.
Yeah, it's karnsandkarns.com. Karns with a K.
There you go. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We certainly appreciate with everyone. Go to goodreads.com, Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com, Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1, the Tickety Talkety, and Chris Voss, Facebook.com. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.